The film Parasite won Oscars and has been analyzed countless times. But there's one thing no one's mentioned. Let's dialogue. Hello everyone, I'm Gamma and this is Gamma Logs, a place on the internet to dialogue about film production and life lessons. First up, Parasite. Parasite debuted in 2019 and won 4 Oscars in 2020, including Best Picture, and it was the first foreign film to win Best Picture. First in history. I first watched Parasite in 2025 after noticing so many YouTubers talking about it, reviewing it, and just discussing it. I needed to see what it was all about. After I watched it, I watched those reviews on YouTube. Amazing. Watching the reviews, seeing what people had to say made the film even more interesting to me. And those reviews talked about the hidden messages, the camera work, the intention of the director, the music. They compared the director's past films to this film. There was so much they talked about and covered. But there was this one thing no one mentioned, and I thought it was so obvious and so interesting. I wanted to get someone else's perspective on it. No perspective was to be found. So let's talk about the moments leading up to the moment I'm speaking of, and maybe you noticed it. So for a quick recap and replay of this story, Parasite is about a struggling family of 4. Everyone in this household, the Kims, needs a job. In fact, they're currently only working as pizza box folders, and they're not too good at it. Their pay gets deducted. Well, soon the son, Kevin, that was the English name he goes by in the film, he is hired as an English tutor, though he falsifies the fact that he graduated from college to get this tutoring job. Oh well. He then finds a way to get his sister hired as an art therapist, and then she gets her father hired as the family's driver, and then he gets his wife hired to work for this family as their housekeeper. So the family of 4, the Kims, con their way into working for the family of 4, the Parks. The Kims con the Parks, and now the Kims are sitting pretty in the Parks home celebrating. Literally, while the Parks are out of town, the Kims are eating the Parks' food and liquor in their living room, celebrating the fact that they've pulled one over on this family. And in the middle of that celebration, they're interrupted by a ring at the door. And this is the exact middle of the film. So the mood shifts. Well, at the door is the former housekeeper, Moon. She's come back because she left something in the basement. And now the Kims are trying to determine, do we let her in? This wasn't a part of the plan. What do we do? Well, she only left something in the basement. Let's let her in. She'll be quick. She'll leave. They let her in. She goes down, and she is not quick. So Mrs. Kim goes down to see what the holdup is, and she sees Moon is trying to move a bookshelf. She helps her move it, and there's a hidden doorway. Moon's running down, calling for her honey, her husband. I'm sorry, what? There's a man living down here? There's a frogger in the house? What? Ooh. And frogger. A frogger is someone who is living in someone's house without permission and without their knowledge. They're living in an unused room or attic or crawl space of their house to avoid paying rent. And man, has this man been avoiding rent. He's been in the basement for 4 years, 3 months, and 17 days. He's got frogging down. He's good at it. So they're down in the basement, and Moon's attending to her husband. She's really panicked because he hasn't eaten in a few days. And the new housekeeper is just shocked. What is this room? Who is this person? What? But did you see it in this moment? Did you see what I saw in this scene? It's right there. It's right there. There. Okay, do you see it now? Explain to me, Mr. Director, sir, why is Moon feeding her husband with a baby bottle? I mean, it has milk in it and a nipple attached. Okay, so we understand that Moon is not living in a home. She doesn't have a home to live in. Was she in a rush and all she had was a bottle? Well, why is he drinking it through the nipple? That's weird. It's just disturbing to me. Like, why? I know there's a reason for it. Director Bong would not just put this random thing in unless he did, unless he would. I don't know. We haven't spoken personally. So that was the thing that no one's talked about. The thing that I noticed that I'm just like, surely someone's going to talk about this. This grown man drinking from a baby's bottle. It's kind of disturbing to me. But so are parasites, you know? Finding out you have a parasite living with you, in you, surviving from you, dependent on you. It's gross. It's disturbing. So seeing a grown man drink from a bottle who is completely dependent, it shows his level of dependency, his level of parasiticness. Yes, parasiticness. He is so dependent on his wife, who he needs to work this job, and she lost the job, and now she can't feed him, and he is in his weakest state. Ooh. If everyone in this film is in some way a parasite and dependent on another, to what degree are they parasitic? Okay, Moon's husband is completely dependent. He's been this way for 4 years. He's gotten comfortable in it. He says so himself. He says, I'm comfortable here. The Kims are dependent on the Parks, but the Parks are also dependent on the Kims to do their jobs so that they can live comfortably. So it's a cycle. Now, the Parks could at any point replace their workers, replace their staffs, but the Kims could not so easily find new jobs. They've been struggling long enough. Okay, so the baby bottle thing, weird, disturbing. It's there. But there was also another thing I noticed throughout the film that I thought was interesting, and I wanted to dialogue a little bit about that. And there was this theme of planning. Planning seems so important to this family. Planning how to succeed in this con, planning how to adjust the plan. How do we change direction now that we have this new bit of information and this surprise we weren't expecting? Because it's a surprise. And the way they are so interested in planning or careful with their planning is kind of funny since they're struggling to work. That their plans haven't been successful so far when it comes to just having steady income. And that could be for a multitude of reasons: unskilled, still needing that education, and the economy. You know, things happen that are out of your control, but they like to plan. Let's go over some of the moments in the film where planning comes up. So the first one is about Kevin talking about his plans to still go to college, though he's created this fake degree. He claims he's just printed it off early and he still will go to the college. He's just, printed off his certification a bit early, but it's not forgery. It's not a crime. I'm just ahead of myself. And that in the book is on page 16. Yes, the book. There is a graphic novel of the storyboards from the film. So look down below in my affiliate link and you can get this book for yourself off of Amazon. It's great. So let's look at page 16. You'll just go through it with me once yours comes in, because you're getting it, right? Right? So page 16 is the first moment where planning comes up, which I thought was interesting. So again, Kevin's sister, Jessica, has created for him a fake degree. He prints it off and he says to his dad, Dad, don't think of this as forgery or crime. I'll go to this university next year. And his dad says to him, so you have a plan? His dad is fascinated that his son has a plan. And right before that, he was impressed with his daughter's forgery skills. That if there was a college that had forgery as a degree, she would be top of the class. He's proud of his children's crimes. Okay, so that's the first moment of planning. I'm planning for a future, but I'm claiming I already have the degree. Got it. The next one is on page 42 of the graphic novel in storyboard. This is the scene where the family is trying to figure out how to get the father his job as a driver by getting rid of the current driver. They're talking, hey, Dad, have you ever driven a Mercedes before? He has not. And though the word plan isn't said here, Kevin mentions, so we're moving on. He says, so we're moving on to the next stage, because he's surprised that his sister Jessica has found a way quickly. Like the day she interviewed, she schemed and found a way to set a trap for the current driver to get fired so her dad could swoop into that open position. So they're moving on to the next stage already. They have a plan. They have a way to con the Parks even more, to deceive the Parks even more. So they're moving on to the next stage, which just indicates they've been talking about this and figuring it out. They've seen, hey, we've gotten two of us in this family's home. Surely we can get the rest of us. That's what I see. Okay, and the next moment is on page 99. Turn with me to page 99. This is the moment that we first talked about. On page 99 is when the Kims are living it up in the Parks home, eating their food, drinking their whiskey, though they claim it to be their own. And when the former housekeeper Moon comes and rings the doorbell and she tells them, hey, I need to come in, I left something in the basement, Kevin once again brings up the plan. He says, this isn't in the plan. Having someone come in suddenly, having the former housekeeper return wasn't part of our plan. Oh, what do? We let her in and things go down the drain. That's what they did. So the plan. The next moment of the planning, or a plan being mentioned, is on page 144. Turn again with me. So on page 144, this is the point in the movie where the Parks return unexpectedly back to their home ahead of time. And the Kims are rushing to hide the former housekeeper and her husband back in the basement and clean up the mess they've created by eating up the Parks' food and just making a mess. So after they've done all that, Mr. Kim has tied up Moon's husband downstairs and they're talking. And Mr. Kim says to Moon's husband, how can you live in a place like this? And he responds, there's people who live in basements and semi-basements like all the time. This isn't uncommon. And then Kim is like, well, do you have a plan? Like, how are you going to get out of here? Don't you have a plan? I mean, we've had plans all this time. That's what he's basically getting at. He and his family have planned and have gotten this far. You haven't planned and you're still in this basement. Ugh, let me look down on you. And this is that moment where Moon's husband says, but I'm comfortable here. And it was so off-putting. This man's disturbing, but he's kind of my favorite character, especially that part in the film later on where he starts yelling respect. He respects Mr. Park because Mr. Park provides for him. Respect! I love that. Respect! But yeah, if you look on page 144, that top of the page, you see the frame where Moon's husband says, but I'm comfortable here. And he's tied up in an uncomfortable position. It was just good. Okay, moving on. On page 162, this is the part where the family minus Mrs. Kim, the father and his kids are returning home in the rain, walking down the stairs and everything through the flood to get back to their home. And at one point, they all pause and start talking amongst themselves. And Kevin asks his dad, "What's the plan? What do we do now? What do we do now that there's a family in the basement? They're going to cause a trouble, and we're going to lose our jobs. We're going to be found out. So what do we do now? What's the plan?" He asks his father, "What do we do now? What's our plan?" So how do we adjust the plan now that, there's more to this house than we intended? From here, we have two more incidents where plan comes up again. The next one is on page 172. Turn there, won't you? Here is when the family has found themselves in the evacuation center because their home has flooded. They are really down and out bad. That would be horrible. So here they are in this evacuation center. Jessica's asleep, Kevin's awake, and he's talking to his dad still about this plan. His dad had mentioned he has a plan before. So, Dad, what's the plan? What plan do you have? So Kevin says, "What's your plan?" His father says, "What are you talking about? Before you said you had a plan. What will we do about the basement?" And this is, to me, just a really important little monologue, a brief monologue the father has here. He says to his son, "You know what kind of plan never fails? No plan at all. No plan. You know why? If you make a plan, life never works out that way. Look around us. Did these people think, let's all spend the night in a gym? But look now, everyone's sleeping on the floor, including us." That's why people shouldn't make plans. With no plan, nothing can go wrong. And if something spins out of control, it doesn't matter. Whether you kill someone or betray your country, none of it matters. Got it? So his father is defeated, I guess. No plan at all is the best kind of plan to have, he claims. Interesting take. And then the final moment of a plan that is mentioned in this film is on page 233. Turn with me to 233. So this part of the film on page 233 is when everything's gone wrong. The Parks have moved out of their home. The Kims have served their jail time, and now their lives are somewhat back to normal. But where's Mr. Kim? Once we realize he's in the basement, once Kevin realizes his father is hiding in the basement for the crime he committed, and he sees the message his father's leaving through Morse code, like Moon's husband used to leave a message through Morse code, Kevin comes up with a plan. The plan to get his father out of that basement. And it's an unrealistic plan. It's an unlikely plan that he would succeed in, but it's a plan nonetheless. And I think for him, having that plan is a bit of hope. And you can see the excitement on his face once he realizes where his father is, his father's message, and this realization that, hey, maybe I can succeed this time with this plan of actually going to college, becoming successful, earning a lot of money to buy that home and to get my father out of that basement. And all the Kim's planning and striving to achieve this mission of deceiving had me thinking about life and the lessons that we could find in this story of how do we plan? How do you plan your days, your weeks? People make 5-year plans. People make daily plans or daily tasks to achieve for a moment. And I find that for me personally, that I'm most successful in my planning when I start my day and my days in God's Word. I take that moment, I plan that morning to sit quietly, read His Word, pray, and dedicate the day to Him. When I do that, The stress is lower, if existent at all. I accomplish more. If it didn't get accomplished, it turns out it could wait anyways. So that planning and starting my day slower and making sure I have time with God has been the most successful method of planning I found. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established." Now, the Kims didn't commit anything to the Lord. They did not say, "Hey, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to deceive a family." God wouldn't approve. They wouldn't have moved forward, and everyone would still be alive. No one in Moon's family, no one in the Kim's family, no one in the Parks family would have suffered and experienced that much loss and that much pain. But if they had done that, there would be no film. There would be no story to tell, because drama is best watched but not experienced in life, right? When you have a boring life, that's a good indication that things aren't necessarily going wrong. So again, Proverbs 16:3, commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established. So, how do you make plans? How do you make sure that your goals are successful, that your tasks are complete? And also, what did you think of the film Parasite? Leave comments down below answering both of those questions. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and we could truly have a dialogue about these things. And don't forget to pick up your own copy of the graphic novel and storyboard of the film Parasite. Use my affiliate link down below. Until then, I can't wait to talk and dialogue with you about another film.